two women. Steve Cram will talk you through how it works.
Thank you, Gabby. Happy New Year to you and the rest of the team and everybody watching, and a great vantage point halfway up Arthur's Seat there, looking down on the start of this relay. An intriguing event it is. 4 athletes in each team, a 1 kilometre lap. Great Britain may well start as the favourites, partly because Laura Muir is running on the last lap. So it's 2 men and 2 women. We begin with the men. So we have a male athlete, then to a female, then to a male, then to a female. This is for the Stewart Cup. So it's a separate event from the overall races, which are adding up to the team challenge, the 2 junior races and the 2 senior races over the longer distances. So there's a separate event for the Stewart Cup. But lots of pride at stake, plenty of good athletes on show here, including Laura, as we said. USA hoping as well that they can spring a shock over Great Britain. Indeed, last year the Scottish team beat Great Britain, probably because they had Laura Muir on the last leg. Laura running for Great Britain this time. And her team got James Bowness going on the first leg, Charlene Thomas, James West, Laura on the last leg. And, but I think this is going to be a pretty close affair. Jake Whiteman going for Scotland on the first leg. Scotland with 2 teams, Ben Greenwood also going for them. The USA led off by Kyle Merber. Well, Brendan's joined me in the box here. This is always a fun event, really, but the athletes take it seriously. It's a great event for the 1500, the 800 guys to be doing this time of the winter, 1 kilometre, and you can give it your all here.
That's absolutely right, and it's also the kind of thing that the athletes over the years would have enjoyed. This is a new initiative, and this year in the World Cross Country Championships in Kampala in Uganda, this will be introduced for the first time. And I'm sure when we see athletes from all around the world running in a mixed relay over this sort of distance, we'll find a new boost for cross-country running, and certainly for that first time it runs in Kampala. But the Scottish team on the inside is young Jake Whiteman. I'm a little bit surprised he wasn't in the British team, because you would think he'd probably be a more favoured athlete over this distance at this time of the year. But he's running strongly and running well, and they're running 1 lap of this course, and then they hand over to the next athlete, which is, in his case, it's Mahara Henry, and in the case of the British team, it's Charlene Thomas.
Yeah, just watching James Bowness, who's wearing the British kit, just moving up on James West, who's running for England, but it's Whiteman who's stretching out. James Bowness has run well here before, back in 2015 when there were just 2 per team. He won as part of the England team, and Bowness ran indoors in that same meeting that Laura Muir broke that record. Whiteman just having a little slip around the corner there, but he's struggling to hang on. So Great Britain need to stay close if they to give Laura Muir a bit of a chance on the last leg. And now the big sprint comes. Jake Whiteman's been in good shape already this winter, was in Font-Romeu before Christmas and has run a couple of shorter races. And look at the speed that Jake's finding here. And Bowness now coming quickly around the outside, bringing Great Britain back into this. So Bowness trying to close the gap, but Scotland leading from Great Britain, the USA with Kyle Merber in 3rd place, and then some gaps now starting to appear. A little look from Jake Whiteman, just kicked away a little early there. So Bowness has done a good job, and we'll hand over to Charlene Thomas for Great Britain. Scotland, as Brendan said, will have Myra Henry on the 2nd leg.
That was a good performance by James Bowness. Really did well in the last 200 metres, obviously gauged that race. Now Charlene Thomas alongside on the inside, the American athlete running strongly, Leanne Farber, and the 3 of them now pulling away. So Scotland, USA and Great Britain making a meal of this one. And Charlene Thomas has really set off aggressively, Paula.
Yes, she has. I spoke to her this morning and she's very happy that the course is not too muddy out there, and was really looking forward to taking the baton in a good position and being able to build up a little bit of a lead and hand that on, and she's certainly set out with intent to do that right now.
Charlene just needs to judge her effort well here. It's not very far, 1 kilometre. In fact, that first leg may well have been the quickest we've ever seen. I'm looking at Mark Butler, our statistician. It was 2:36, and that's pretty quick. I think the quickest before was 2:39. Quickest by a woman is 3 minutes 2. That was Laura Muir last year. So Charlene gauging her effort here. The Americans closing the gap. Leanne Farber, as Brendan was saying, Henry then just behind for Scotland. The others taking closer order. Alex Bell, who had a great year over 800 metres last year, representing England in the red and white. And they just going through the camera there. So it's all bunching up. Charlene Thomas will hand over to James West. And that, a little bit of a gap there. I know the Americans were very keen that they thought they had a chance here. Heather Kampf is on the last leg for them against Laura Muir, but this is turning into a bit of a scrap between Great Britain and America.
And Leon Faber there moving really closely and quickly behind Charlene Thomas, putting herself and her team in a good position. So now the pressure is going to come on James West, because Will Lear, 3:34, 1500 meter runner, is a strong athlete, and then we'll lead up to what can happen to Laura Muir. But that's a good run there in that position. The Irish are moving through. Karen McGean running strongly there into third place.
Charlene just holding good position here, but a very good performance there from McGean of Ireland, who's moved right through into third place, closing down on the American. But this is good from Charlene, Paula, judging her effort well, looks to be trying to move away.
Yes, she's definitely not as comfortable on the hills as Faber is. Faber makes up a little bit of a ground on the uphill sections, but every time she gets a chance to really use the little bit of extra pace that she has, Charlene's doing that, and I think she should be able to hand over, certainly in contact with the US, if she isn't able to get back in front here. But an excellent run from Karen McGean behind.
The Americans doing really well, and Faber will know with Will Lear next. The athletics fans are instantly recognizable. Will Lear, always sporting a beard. There he is. And he will now be taking on James West, because those two are well ahead of Ireland. Ireland with Kieran Kelly going third for them, and the others a little bit too far adrift, you would think. So James West got a job on his hand. I was watching some online clips just recently over Christmas and New Year. Will Lear training with Nick Willis, the two-time Olympic medalist at 1500 meters up in Flagstaff, I think it was, looking in good shape. And Will Lear, well, he's got an interesting thing here, Brendan. He knows Laura Muir is going last against Heather Kampf. He wouldn't know much about James West. James is at Loughborough University now, and he might be thinking, if I can get a gap here and certainly give Heather Kampf a bit of a lead on Laura Muir, they might have a chance, but it's going to be hard to do that.
It's got to be a bigger lead than that, though, Steve. He's really running strongly in second place, the young Briton, James West, getting closer to him and staying closer to him. If he was clever about this, he might actually settle for just being behind the leader when they come into the change. But the pressure is mounting on the USA, and in fine form, Laura Muir standing on the start line. She'll be getting a little bit nervous, getting a bit anxious about where she's going to take the baton. But the American is running well, James West running well, and the Irishman running strongly in third place.
And a little bit of a backstory to this as well is that the World Cross Country this year, there will actually be a mixed relay of this type of fashion. So I think slightly hit by the fact that it's in Uganda and a lot of countries won't be sending full teams, but it would be great to see a race of this style in the World Cross Country and really help to bring the World Cross Country back to the strengths that it has enjoyed in previous years.
Well, if you compared these two men in terms of their best 1500 meter times, no contest. Will Lear much quicker than James West. James still just 20 years of age, though, as I said, at Loughborough now. But they've both been caught now by Kieran Kelly. Also Scotland, Neil Gourley getting close up for Scotland. So this is now a real scrap here. James West taking it on. Will Lear happy to sit and watch now. I suspect he'll be trying to save it and at least get 3 or 4 meters. But of course, then when you're 3-4, you hand over 3-4 meters ahead. Laura Muir's going to love where the position she's going to be handed to. What about Scotland? Well, a real burst there, maybe a little bit early. There's still a couple of 100 meters to go.
Real burst through there by the Scottish athlete, running powerfully, but young James West is holding it, and the American Will Lear, we expected to be a bit quicker and a bit closer. Now there's James West about to hand over to Laura Muir. Laura's on the start line. She sees the Scottish vest coming down first. This is not for her. On the inside is the Scottish athlete on the last leg. And there Laura Muir takes over in a great place.
Well, a great performance from Neil Gourley there. He's based in the States himself these days, and well, he certainly gave Will Lear a real stare of his back as he ran away from him, handed over to his teammate. And actually his teammate there is Gemma Ricci, who's came in. I think Joe Moultrie was initially going to be on the last leg, and Joe has been replaced by Gemma Ricci, who's actually Laura Muir's young training partner. So Laura knows all about Gemma, and Gemma will know she isn't catching Laura Muir. Away Laura goes, Heather Kampf giving chase, but already a good 10-meter gap appearing.
You know what a coach has said to her today? Just run as hard and as fast as you can. And guess what? She's running as hard, as fast as she can. It's not going to be about tactics with Laura Muir. She's going to try and run away from them all here, and she's doing it in style.
She only really knows how to run that way, doesn't she? And to lay it all on the ground and to put it all out there and give it a really hard effort. And she's really strong at the minute, and she's really strong mentally because she knows that she's come back from that training stint in South Africa in really good shape, backed that up in the week with that 5,000 metre race indoors, and just wants to build on that again here and to put a really, really strong time down.
Yeah, Laura's going to be heading down to South Africa on Tuesday. Some of the other British sort of middle distance contingent already down there. Laura spent a fair bit of time there in November and early December before coming back. And she's had Christmas and New Year at home. That great 5,000 metres record indoors just on Wednesday. And then back to South Africa, back to altitude. And then we'll see her again at the indoors in Birmingham, going for Kelly Holmes' 1,000 metre indoor record. And
this is a sight I think we'll see a lot of this year. Laura Muir at the front of her field. This time it's a relay. Later in the year it'll be 3,000 metres. It may even be 5,000 metres. But like Paula said earlier, this is the way she knows how to run. She knows how to run at the front. She knows how to run fast. She knows how to run hard. And my goodness, she's doing that today.
Well, she'll be delighted to be winning this. She'd be equally delighted if her young training partner, Gemma Reekie, could hang on to second place behind her. The 18-year-old doing a good job. She's got Kerry O'Flaherty for company from Ireland and Heather Camp of the USA, but they're so far behind Laura Muir. The crowd loving this. The big hero of Scottish athletics and Scottish sport now, of course. And Laura doing what she does best. Getting a great reception from the crowd. They're absolutely nowhere near her. Be interested to see what sort of time she runs. She hasn't had to run that fast, but she's good at front running. You saw that in that 5,000 metre record. She ran the last 2K pretty much on her own. But here she comes, Laura Muir for Great Britain. It's going to be a very comfortable win. Stormed away from the field. Great Britain win the 4x1K relay and the Stewart Cup. The USA coming in second place. Heather Camp just getting ahead of Gemma Reekie. The 18-year-old doing well there to bring Scotland through in third spot. Well, conditions here much better, and we said we've seen, we think at least a record in the men's race, and 2:53 we think for Laura Muir, which is nearly 10 seconds faster than last year. Admittedly, it's not as muddy this year, but given that Laura was running pretty much on her own, that's a brilliant performance, and that's why she finished so far ahead of everybody else.
There is Laura Muir coming home strongly, coming home powerfully, 10 seconds faster than she ran last year. Well, if she translates that onto the track, there'll be fireworks all summer from Laura Muir. What a great performance, a great start of the year by Laura.
Yeah, I think 2:49 was it she ran for the last kilometre indoors in the week, so to come as close as she has done there today over these conditions with that hill in it just shows that she didn't even really need to. She was controlling that, but sometimes, and definitely I think with Laura, when she's out free and she's no pressure on her, she's running on her own, that's when she can actually put more effort in. What she's very, very good at is gauging that effort, so she lays it all out there and doesn't overcook it.
Great run from Laura Muir. What a 2017 she must have ahead of her. She's with Gabby now.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And looking incredibly fresh considering the run you've just done. Steve said 10 seconds quicker than last year. Obviously, the course not quite as muddy as it was last year, but you seem very fresh to us up here considering the week you just had, Laura.
You know, I just, having role as captain, I wanted to put out a good job there for the team. And yeah, when I saw the other girls and guys placing well, thought I got to bring it home for them. So yeah, luckily the legs are feeling okay.
So that winter training in South Africa has gone very well. 2017 has started well with that new 5,000 metre indoor record. You're going for the 1,000 in Birmingham. Is the next few months all mapped out for you, and how much cross country will be in there?
This will probably be my last cross country race of the season. I'll be doing indoor stuff, but yeah, it's all kind of mapped out, and with London the big sort of goal this year, and yeah, just hoping I can perform best I can when I get there.
and you've gone from the hunter to the hunted almost, haven't you, in the last 6 months? It's a different mindset, I imagine, that you're going to have to going into the races in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't used to kind of being the one to watch, but now I'm kind of figuring there now, and but it's great. I mean, people are recognising that I'm running fast, and yeah, I just want to try and keep up there.
And a wonderful way for the crowd here, the home crowd, to show their recognition as well. Congratulations, Laura. Steve Cram can mop up all the results there and talk us through it.
Can Gabby, no doubt, of course, about the winning team, Great Britain. A big win, really, 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And that's a pretty emphatic win over the USA. USA with Heather Kampf just pipping Scotland for the 3rd spot. So Great Britain getting, well, certainly getting the afternoon off to a great start, but the Stewart Cup not part of the overall competition.
Thank you, Steve, which is a great shame, isn't it, with such an emphatic victory. But